But yeah, I think you'll all agree that was amazing.
Thanks!
Sagittarius from Echoes wishes it was that good.
What's the matter?
What?
Can we make some excuse to get him out of the way? Thankfully, our excuse has just arrived.
Guess it can't be helped. What is it?
So it's distraction time.
Hey, thanks.
That's a very effective distraction.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. Let's go. Hey.
This is...
That's one of the things you can see on her model there.
Okay.
Well, he can't be that dense.
Thanks!
What's this?
Mm-hmm. Let's go!
And so all that build-up will finally pay off.
Wait!
Ray?
Thank you.
What do you mean by this?
I'm just gonna be quiet for this.
No, that's not it. Hey.
I see.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yay! Thanks!
However...
No, that's not it.
Ray, you need to learn about not unintentionally offending dogs. So let's go ahead and turn in all 3 of these quests. Oh, of course. I was so caught up in the fact that I completely obliterated that enemy that I forgot that we need to investigate. It's gonna come back, isn't it? Please tell me that it's not going to come back. Because they do respawn. I'm pretty sure they do respawn, don't they? I should have... Oh, I have to fight it again. Well, at least there's a lot of experience for everyone.
My persona's been strengthened.
Okay, absorb ice. I don't really need null petrify right now.
Leader, you shouldn't push yourself.
Now let's actually pick up the required item for the quest this time. Yes, it doesn't look like we'll need to investigate any further. We won't have to fight that thing another time. They're actually really good for grinding against, though, especially at this point in the game. 77,000 experience on hard mode, where you get 20% less experience, by the way. That's a lot. Okay, now let's turn in everything at the nurse's office.
Welcome. A job well done.
Yeah, we're smug, but for a completely different reason.
This will be your reward.
We'll get to that when we turn in a different side quest. And we get a repulse spell, which I believe is a better version of the encounter repelling items. Let's turn this in next.
As I expected.
What are you gonna call this one?
If I were to put this in an analogy.
Futility. As in what that boss just felt when the arrows were heading towards it?
I have decided.
Sphere of the Underworld, otherwise known as the place its population increases dramatically every time someone uses myriad arrows.
Now, this will be your reward.
So just a better version of the Authority Badge. And a very small amount of experience in comparison to what we got out of fighting that thing. And now, a lot of experience for turning this in.
Oh? Please wait a moment.
Will Ray finally thank us in person?
I apologize for the wait.
Yes, Ray and Zen.
Oh.
If you don't have Zen equip it, you are heartless. Yeah, I don't don't think he's completely dense.
Many
He
thanks.
seems to be really attached to this collar.
Jeez!
Let's go.
See you!
Zen's collar here reminds me a lot of that paper armband you can get from Nanako in Persona 4. It's an exclusive accessory only he can equip, and let me just quickly show you what it does. It raises all stats pretty considerably. Yeah, it's even better than the all-around badge. While we're here, we might as well see what Theodore can make out of the monitor gold. Just a few additional weapons. Eternal Blade sounds cool, though I get the feeling it's going to be less cooler in practice than it seems. Instant death, that's not bad at all. But anyway, now that we've actually completed the side quest properly this time...
Okay, so now we'll resume exploration of the Inaba Pride exhibit, but before we do that, I'm going to head back into the Velvet Room to do a few fusions, because at level 52, a whole ton of personas just became accessible to us. We have Kartikeya, who seems to be yet another Link-based persona. Uriel, who has this skill Paths of Light, which might be useful for navigators. And another persona who might be useful for navigators due to this, which seems to prevent power sport ambushes completely. So I have a choice as to what I fuse out of Lenan Seed. We also have Decarabia, Black Rider, who I will be needing later, but I might as well... Yeah, there's a lot of different ways I can fuse Black Rider, and they all kind of rely on personas that I'm using at the moment, which is sort of a problem. But we also have a legally distinct entity who is definitely not related to any Marvel Comics character in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. However, I can actually fuse Hellbiker out of 2 filler personas, although Orphanium is actually pretty decent. But, yeah, let's just fill out the compendium a little bit, and you gotta have Maragidine. Also, interestingly, Hellbiker seems to have unique fusion dialogue, which is pretty cool. I like how some personas have that. So, with you done, we can also fuse Belial, and I'm actually going to need to fuse you via Pabilsarg. Well, I can immediately get rid of Hellbiker if I wanted to. And I actually have to if I don't want to give up Araune, which I don't want to. Summon Demon is the better version of Summon Ghost. So with that, I can pass down, obviously, on as many circles as possible. Silent Circle and Binding Hands, and I have my choice of 1 additional skill. I already have Archidine, and Marakidine's very expensive. Guillotine is also a possibility, Masukukasha is a possibility. There's a lot of different things I could go for here. I kind of like having Guillotine. I will be needing Belial for a secret fusion later, so fusing you now is going to be important. So I have Belial. I think I can make Decarabia entirely out of filler as well. Or I used to be able to, now I can't. So I essentially have 2 choices for navigation here. I can either fuse you out of these 2, or I can fuse Uriel out of these 3. Don't really want Genbu anymore. So it depends on whether I want HP restoration for every step. It's only like 1 or 2 HP, it's not that much. And I generally have enough healing as is, or complete safety from power spot ambushes, which will probably earn me a lot of money in the long run. I'm actually really tempted to go for this one. Okay, so I get to pass down 3 skills here, which is kind of a problem because I have a lot of good navigator abilities, but I really, really want Snake Glare, and I kind of want Renewal Aura as well. Definitely don't need Fairy's Vigil, and I probably want Hunting Prayer. Cornucopia is really good as well, though, as is Heroic Wind. There's so many really, really good, and Cornucopia stacks quite well with Calming Lull, too. Honestly, do I really need Renewal Aura now that I think about it? Because I do have Prayer on Fuka for that. In a way, Hunting Prayer might actually be more trouble than it's worth because it just makes my inventory fill up quickly. So how about Cornucopia and Renewal Aura? Yeah, I'll go for that. I have no idea who this persona is mythology-wise, so I might want to actually look that up. While I'm here, though, I think I can still get Uriel. Yeah, Raphael, Genbu, and Atropos. 3 personas that I don't particularly need, though I will need Atropos for something a little bit later. I could pass down Impure Reach, Poison Circle, and Hammer on. Or I could get some buffs. No, I kind of want the Impure Reach Hammer on combo. And I will be needing the Angel for something later too. In fact, I believe, because I did fuse Gabriel earlier, that means I think I have all 3 of the non-secret Archangels now. But the secret one is very, very high level, so I can't fuse the 3 of them together just yet. Okay, that will be all in there for now. So, as for party, this is going to get a little bit complicated since everyone's gained a ton of levels thanks to me having to fight that boss twice. I sort of want someone with light and dark here, so I might as well bring Ken to this. Actually, I used this exact same party before, didn't I? In that case, I think I'll swap Ken out for Yukari. And on supports, yeah, I can switch back to Rise, I guess. Oh, why did I pass Hammer on to you? You already have Mahama on, I didn't notice that. Oh well. Okay, so here's the inventory that I've gone with on everyone. I wanted to buy better armor for everyone eventually. I've spent a lot of money on the compendium recently. And as for personas, yeah, I don't usually use 3 physical attackers, so I had to stick Shinjo with Belial, even though it's not really a physical persona. You are taking Mahama on due to your high luck. Yukari's using the one with a lot of status ailments and extra SP. Actually, you know what? As much as I like Salome's Kiss, I kind of want the extra elemental coverage that Black Frost has. And you're taking my new, yeah, Navigator persona. I guess I can show what the all-around badge does. Huh, it gives the exact same amount of HP to Akihiko that the Vigor Fob would. That's actually pretty cool. Now I've done everything and saved, let's go. I still wish the first floor song was used more. It is kind of weird having to hear the same song for the vast majority of the dungeon. But anyway.
Alright, let's go.
We kind of have to take the long way back to where we left off.
Is it filet mignon?
Well, we'll have to wait for quite a while to figure out whether it is that or not. Oh, so it is Uriel.
Good job, leader. That was fast. Let's keep it up.
The enemies are definitely starting to be worth more experience now, which is good, because we were gaining practically nothing from the enemies in the first floor.
Come on, let's go.
Someone actually mentioned that a lot of people like to... Let's just ignore the fact there's a giant pair of legs in front of us, I'll get to that later. But that a lot of Etrian Odyssey players like to draw in walls around doors like that. I don't know, I personally feel the sides of the door icon act as walls to me, but everyone maps out EO games differently. Anyway.
Oh, what the hell is this?
It's a giant pair of legs! With a loincloth with kanji marked on it. And I believe that kanji actually says Blue Dragon.
What? This is...
Yes, not really sure why such a monument is here. But it does pertain to a new type of door we'll be encountering. This one has a gold seal on it. Light the lanterns of the holy gateways. The seal will only lift once the proper pilgrimage has been made. Yep, Yosuke spoke too soon. We have a new type of puzzle here. Genbu Byako Seiryu Suzaku. So yeah, being Japanese, Junpei was able to read what that said. Seiryu is the blue dragon. So for Western players, it might be easier to remember them by colours. Seiryu is blue, Suzaku is red, Genbu is black, and Byako is white. At this point in the game, it's helpful if you fuse some of these personas, because checking their compendium entries will tell you the colours they're associated with too. This is a you can't go back on your path puzzle as well. Yes, path under the legs, that's good wording. So Naruto mentions this. You might want to write that down somewhere, because it's definitely pretty important. I like to mark these doors in gold. So what I like to do is, I like to map out the floor intentionally doing the pilgrimage wrong the first time, and only going through them in order once I've, mapped out the whole area. It's not even the upper half, it's just legs. But anyway, that one there being black is Genbu. Now, there's no black map icon for marking these things out, so a lot of, different people do this differently. Some people like to mark them in numbers, some people like to use notes. For example, you can actually put a note right here and write Genbu, which is probably the, most obvious way of doing it. I like to use differently coloured doors. We do have a white, a blue, and a red indicator for doors. We don't actually have a black though. So for black, what I like to do is I like to put S, even though Genbu is not always the starting point. So this one here is Genbu.
Wow.
However, this is going to be short-lived. We're going to be screwing up the pilgrimage. But remember that passing under the correct gate does light up the lantern. So often these pilgrimages can't actually be completed correctly unless you've opened up all the shortcuts. And the lantern went out because we doubled back on our path. Like I said, I like to map out the pilgrimage areas first and then worry about going through the gates in the right order. So that one there, that one is Seiryu, which is the blue dragon, so we're going to mark that as a blue door. And it's kind of vital that we open this up, because it's pretty much necessary.
Right?
And you can go through regular doors without disrupting the pilgrimage, don't worry. Because in here, we have the white one, and yes, I know that character there is white, so that, would be Byako. It's kind of interesting, some SMT games have the celestial animals with their Chinese names, not their Japanese names. The white doorways can get a little bit confusing the way I mark them because they look the same as regular doorways, but if there's like a coloured-in floor tile underneath the door, then I'll know that it is the Byako gate. Speaking of which, this is the Suzaku gate, or the Red Phoenix.
That wall just screams suspicious.
And that's a one-way passageway. We'll need to make use of that. So this first pilgrimage is very, very simple. It's just a good way to get you used to the mechanic.
I've seen this in a biology book.
Oh, wow, that's not good. Gary Stu still has his panic weapon, so... ways on a homunculus. It'd be kind of annoying if the one character not panicked was unconscious, but yeah. Okay, that's bad. Spreading the status around, I guess. At least you're not going again until the end of the turn.
Yukari-chan, I think you're poisoned. Poison is getting to me.
At least, Akihiko recovered. This thing should go down to Akihiko and Yukari's attacks. Yeah, they can get a bit annoying if you don't have dark-based attacks. Because they can panic you pretty easily. Speaking of panic, it's got a taste of its own medicine there. And this is only a first floor enemy too.
Great! Let's keep this up!
It may be weak to dark, but don't underestimate it if you don't manage to instant kill it quickly. Panic is very annoying.
Your health isn't looking good, Chie-senpai.
Really? No, I guess so. So you're gonna diorama her.
There's still more up ahead.
Some people also like to, this is just things that other people have told me, some people also like to mark in the water tiles on the map in a different color, but I personally just like to treat them as walls. Okay, so the order is black, white, blue, red. Okay, that would be like the order that I got certain... Because black was my primary version for Pokemon Gen 5, but red was my primary version for Gen 1, so it doesn't exactly add up.
That was over quick. Wow.
Oh, that's it. I usually like to mark the order in front of the door. I'll do that for the next pilgrimage. So, black, and you'll see that flash there.
Let's go.
Whites. And here we need to use the one-way shortcut, otherwise we'd be forced to go through the red gate.
Come on, over here.
Now we kind of have to make a loop regardless of which direction we go in, but blue... Let's loop around. The pilgrimages might be one of those points where the auto-walk feature of the map comes in handy, but... I don't really use the auto-walk that much. I tried it once in a practice session, but it didn't really go so well.
Good luck.
A samurai, huh? Now here's a worthy enemy.
That was quick.
And finally the red gate. Yeah, it was. That's usually the thing with good puzzles. You start out with a simple version, then you gradually introduce more and more elements as you go through. Here's the thing, though. I believe that if you walk through any of the gates on your way back, it actually messes it up and you have to do it again. So, let's not do that. Now I can go through this door. However, unlike with the fire doors, these ones actually do stay open. That's a very good thing because, let's just say the final door in this entire dungeon is one of those doors. But here we can open up a gateway back to the central hub that I mentioned earlier. Oh right, these things can power charge, I forgot about that.
That was quick.
My persona's definitely improved.
And I said before, I'm definitely not going to be learning Heavy Shot. But you'll get Demon's Stab next, or well, I'd probably call it Demon's Pierce, but anyway, which increases Pierce attack strength. Not really that great for the current setup that I have on you, but let's just say Tam Lin also gets that, and, well, Myriad Arrows is buffed by it, so obviously I want to learn that skill.
I'm dead tired.
Come on.
One!
Huh?
Oh. Of course Yukiko would find that hilarious.
Hey.
Yeah, Yukiko's broken again. Oh no! I do really like this event because it actually does show something funny about P3. You probably won't know who Ikutsuki is if you haven't played Persona 3, but yeah, he loves bad puns, and it seems like he programmed a pun database into Igus.
Hey. You know, understood.
I love the folder path there.
What?
Oh no.
Hey.
Oh, thank you. But that, bizarrely enough, unlocks a request about Tails. Yeah, that's the one that requires you to defeat one of those lions with wings. In this case, maybe I should actually try getting it now, just to show what happens if you've, already got the item by the time you accept the request. Which unfortunately means poor Theodore doesn't have to do anything.
Let's go.
And through here, there's a little bit more of a way to go before the next major thing of this floor, so I guess I can take this time at the moment to talk about, as I'm recording this video, an announcement recently happened, which I kind of missed because Australian time zones.
Good luck. Keep the orders coming.
Yeah, that's kind of an annoying thing about living in the time zone that I am, is I often wake up when I've uploaded a video and all these people in the comment section are all raving about a new video game announcement that just happened, and I'm just like, what? When did that happen? Kind of get the announcements later. I mean, I sometimes follow Game Explain. That's really the best source of gaming news that I have. I guess I can go for a Decay Circle, and you can just go for Gyrodyne on that. I want to carefully make sure I keep these lions alive until only one is left, and then make sure that I beat it with winds. Using Gale Link to defeat it might be a little bit awkward, because it means that, also, if I get the Strength Line, oh, I didn't. That's annoying. Because if I did, then your Power Charge would have been pointless. That double Brain Shake combo is really dangerous. But yeah, because I think it only counts as defeating them with wind if the actual Link hit is the one that finishes them off. And that'd be kind of hard to time correctly. But anyway,
Shinjiro-san is down.
Shinji! Damn it. You're cutting it too close.
well, at least you're showing genuine concern there, rather than being, yeah, I survived longer than he did. But anyway, I should probably be pointing out that I should probably get back to my original point, which is that, yeah. So, we now finally know what Persona 5S is, and it's a Warriors-style spin-off co-developed by Koei Tecmo, rather than a Persona 5 Switch port like most people guessed. Which is very, very unfortunate. Oh no, you going to the front row just after you power charge is really bad, because that means your attacks do more damage.
I'm counting on you, yes.
That is kind of a problem, but at least you're no longer power charged. Speaking of a lot of damage, though.
What the?
Okay, at least I got one of them down.
More like it's over.
And revenge for you getting knocked out before. So, I guess I can give my thoughts on that. It's just one of those cases where I feel that...
Akihiko-san's been knocked out.
How dare you take out Aki?
And now the shoe's on the other foot. I feel like it's one of those situations where... It's kind of weird me saying this. So I'm actually one of the biggest pessimists you'll ever see in real life. But when it comes to video games, I'm kind of a hopeless optimist, and I tend to always look at the bright side of things. It's partly because in like all of the video game fandoms that I've been a member of, I've just seen so much salt and anger all the time, and it just gets really tiring. I wish people would just start being positive about video games every now and then, instead of just spewing salt all the time. And I do understand why there's genuine cause for annoyance here, but I feel really bad for Persona 5S because it looks like a decent spin-off, and I feel like it's going to suffer from Federation Force syndrome. What I mean by that is, it's a decent enough game on its own right, but it will always be remembered for being announced with horrible, horrible timing.
That one's weak against ice, okay?
Okay, I should be able to finish you off with
Crush
wind.
next.
Let's just make sure that I only use a single targeting attack this time. Guess a Bolt Link could work. Because, yeah, I honestly feel like if Federation Force was announced during the time when the original Metroid Prime series was really popular, then it might actually have been received quite well. But as it stands, it got announced at one of the worst possible times. I'm going to really blow Yukari's SP here. It got announced at one of the worst possible times for its series, just after the fanbase had been destroyed by Other M, everyone wanted a new Prime game, and just after Nintendo cease and desisted a fan game based on the Metroid series. So, oh, this is better kill, because if you finish yourself off, I won't get the item.
Okay,
There we go.
done here.
So that should give us the fluffy tail.
Let's keep it going.
Or wheel tail. Anyway, it's called fluffy tail for the request.
Uh-oh, I'm almost out of energy.
So this situation may not be quite as bad as the Federation Force one. We might still get ambushed there. Speaking of power spots, I know I'm jumping all over the place with different tangents, but I forgot to mark this one earlier. And there was also a power spot, like in here, that I forgot to mark. I might mark that one later. Because it actually, Persona 5S, the warrior-style game of it, looks pretty good, and it's a type of spin-off that hasn't really been done in a Persona game before, but... Kanji doesn't have any advice here. It just, announcing it right after Persona 5 Royal and Joker getting in Smash Brothers, it was just the perfect time to announce a Switch port, and yeah, I understand why people would be angry about it.
Oh-ho.
I guess you've been reading too many P4 fanfiction.
Of course it's not. No, man.
Yeah, every single FOE in this entire game is special. Once again, Akiko's obsessed with muscles.
This.
So you got a sneak preview of this thing's movement when we entered the room.
This presence. Is it an FOE?
It jumps diagonally. Oh, by the way, the name of this thing? Sweaty Guy. Yeah, the less said about that, the better. They patrol set routes, but they can easily trip you up because they move diagonally in kind of a diamond shape, and yeah, it can be quite annoying to get past them. They also like to jump around single pools of water. They also like to crisscross their territories like this, and it can be very easy to accidentally get into a situation where you have no choice but to run into one. These things are pretty dangerous, and we'll see later how they react to the Holy Flame, because of course, they have their own reaction to the Holy Flame. Okay, thank goodness there's a tile in front of me. Yeah, it's very easy to get cornered by these things due to their movements.
Against a rare enemy? Lucky us! Let's take it out quick.
Okay, this should be good, provided that we actually get either Lethargy Circle or Panic off on them. And I don't know if I have anyone with Panic here. Do I? It does not seem like... Well, I have Panic attacks on Gary Stu anyway. I suppose while I'm firing these hands, yeah, I'm sorry I got distracted a little bit, but I had to introduce that new FOE, yeah. I still feel like I can understand why people get very passionate about the series they're involved in, but I do feel like in this day and age, just internet culture regarding gaming has just become very, very salt-obsessed, and for lack of a better word, it's just become a time when people just, like, social media very quickly gets whipped up into a frenzy over the slightest things in games nowadays. I probably shouldn't really go on much more about that, but it's just like, I just feel like there is definitely too much saltiness out there in the gaming community. And I just kind of wish people would focus on positives for once. I mean, it's good that developers are finally listening to fan complaints now. No criticals at all, really? That's incredibly rare. But the dark side of that is that fans do get very entitled when they don't get what they want, is another thing, and that's definitely bled over into the Smash Brothers community. I still think the whole idea of the ballot was a mistake. Because all it was an excuse to get fans angry when they didn't get what they wanted. I think I've covered every tile in this... No, I have not. I have not covered that first tile that the first sweaty guy was stepping on. Yeah, and I could tell because there wasn't a wall there. These things are also very dangerous in battle, as you can probably tell. Anyway, I don't want to get too negative about things. Negative about negativity, but yeah. I do find it a weird paradox how I'm really optimistic when it comes to video games, and I always like to look on the positive side. And yet, in real life, I'm incredibly cynical.
Counting on you.
But anyway, we have a new shadow type here, the Apostate Tower. And it is weak to both light and dark, like so many other things in this game. So, yeah, let's just finish these enemies off quickly.
Here we go. Come on.
Okay, we might finally see the sleep plus guillotine combo, and nope, magic snaps you out of sleep in this game. I know there are some video games where magic doesn't break someone out of sleep, only physical attacks do, but this is not one of them.
That one is weak to darkness.
So who should I crush next?
Anyway, this thing is pretty much gonna die now, so yeah.
All right, leader.
Honestly, from the look of it, P5 S looks pretty fun. The other thing is, though, I admit I'm actually pretty biased. Well, not biased. I'm not the best authority on
Great
giving
job.
my opinion
Do your
on
best next time too.
P5 Royal possibly being PS4 exclusive and the other one being available on
Sorry,
Switch, because
I think I'm running
I
out
own
of
both a
energy.
Switch and a PS4. So it doesn't really matter what console they come out on, I'll be able to play both of them. I mean, I'm not saying a Switch port of P5 Royal wouldn't be nice, but at the moment I'm actually not ruling it out. It could still happen in the future. I will say, though, to just talk about the other side of the issue, I do feel like the developers probably should have seen this coming. And they really, really should have announced the game with better timing. Yeah, well that's nice, a bit of a mini heal points, though Yukari really needs some SP heals. I do feel like they should have announced the game with better timing, because really, they should have known better. They should have known that, you know, just after Joker in Smash, and after announcing the Royal
There are
version
3 enemies.
for
Good luck.
Put
the
up your dues.
PS4, that people would be anticipating a Switch port, and if only they had timed the announcement of the game better, then maybe it would have been better received. So yeah, that is the other side of the issue. The, game developers do need to realize, like, they need to be aware of just how easy it is for social media to get whipped up into a frenzy of salt and plan accordingly. Yeah, that's just generally how you sum up my opinion on all this. It's all bad timing. Just really bad timing.
Great. Huh?
Even when most of it misses, it still does 200 damage, which is more than can be said for most other moves. People have been asking whether Myriad Arrows is what I would consider the most broken move in the game. I don't actually... Well, here's the thing. It's the first one of its kind you have access to, but there are actually even stronger multi-hit attacks later in the game. It's the first thing you can do the strategy with, and honestly, I feel like that makes it more overpowered.
That one's weak against
Because usually
ice,
the
okay?
first
So who should I
instance
crush
of a
next?
certain tactic that you have access to tends to be the one that has the most overall... Well, it breaks the game more, I guess, because it's kind of like what I'd say about Armageddon and like a lot of things that are listed on the Game Breaker page for Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, actually. Because, yeah, Lucifer is broken as all get out in most games he's in, but in most games he's in, you can't fuse him until the mid-90s, which means that...
Looks like there's an FOE.
that by the time you can fuse Lucifer, you're already strong enough to trivialize any and all difficulty remaining in the game. So when you think about it, Lucifer's not really that much of a game breaker. Anyway, this sweaty guy has a bit of a weird patrol pattern. And that's a dead end. You have to really pay attention to these guys' movement patterns. So yeah, I do feel like Myriad Arrows is
Something strange about that wall.
probably more
Let's check
overpowered
it
because
out.
you have access to it for longer.
Careful.
And I
There's
think
an
that's this
FOE
area
here.
mapped out now. How do we have a shortcut back to earlier in the floor? I'm going to go on a little bit further because we're going to be running into another one of those
3 enemies,
pilgrimages
and they're
soon.
pretty strong. Keep your guard up. That was fast. Let's keep it up.
Anyway, those towers are giving us some new materials too.
Oh, I'm almost out of energy.
Don't worry, we will be finishing up this expedition
I
soon.
see a power spot up ahead. Why don't we check it out?
For some reason her voice sounded a little different there. And
That
that
wall just
earlier
screams
shortcut
suspicious.
was kind of pointless because just one room later we have another shortcut that leads back to the very beginning. And there it is, another pilgrimage gate. And we have a different order here, so this time I will be writing it down. So, Genbu, Seiryu, Suzaku. Okay, yeah, abbreviating them as just single letters is not going to work because 2 of them start with an S. So I'm going to actually do it by colors again, which also doesn't work because blue and black start with the same letter. Stupid abbreviations. Okay, how about... Yeah, this one, going by the animals they're based off. Tur, Drug, Bird, and Tugger. Well, they still share a letter in common, but they sound a little bit different. So, turtle, dragon, bird, tiger. Black, blue, red, white.
There's something funny about that wall.
One-way passageway here, and here's one of the pilgrimage gates. The pilgrimage areas do look a bit different. I like this sort of gold leaf walls they have in them. But anyway, that one there, I'm going to have to mark that with an S again. Because in fact, it's Genbu's first again, but Genbu will not always be first. I think at this point, I'm actually going to leave the pilgrimage for next time.
A treasure box. What should we do?
There are 3 pilgrimages on this floor. The third is
like
by
we have an
far the
employee
most
on our
difficult of them.
Oh, I'm almost out of energy.
Probably should have gone through this way first. It's always confusing in games where there are 2 paths, one is a dead end and one leads to progress, and inevitably you end up taking the progress one first and have to backtrack for the dead end. You have carnations,
Look out!
which reminds me of Carnage on Red, the Japanese name of the character from the Ace
Missing
Attorney
data.
series.
Orders, leader?
Okay, we have a new enemy here, Platinum Dice. In this case, it being called Dice kind of makes sense because there's 2 of them. Although in British English, Dice is both singular and plural, which I mainly know from Warhammer. But anyway, Platinum Dice are weak to Dark and Ice. And they null light, so they do cover the weaknesses of the other one pretty well.
Good job, everyone!
Oh, I should at least go until Shinjiro gets another level, because he's really close.
It's that triple head! Oh, so creepy!
Triple head, I've never heard it described that way before, but it's pretty self-explanatory.
That was fast! Let's keep it up!
And yeah, everyone here is level 44 now.
Looks like mine's gotten stronger!
And now Tamlin can survive killing blows with 1 HP. But I already like... well, actually, no, I don't like Blade of Fury. Blade of Fury is good, but it's no Myriad Arrows. Oh, and next we'll learn Bloody Vanguard, which means that in the very slim chance the enemy survives Myriad Arrows, everyone else does more damage to that enemy for the rest of the turn. I'm not exactly sure what they were thinking when they put all these abilities onto Tamlin. At least they didn't give Tamlin Power Charge on top of all of that. But still, it just seems like someone on the dev team really liked Tamlin. Definitely better than how it is in Devil Survivor 2, where it's a very early game demon. Even though there, it's one of the first unique demons you can get, but that's completely beside the point here. So yeah, we've made some pretty good progress on Night 3. So I'll see you next time for the second pilgrimage of this floor. And I'll also be completing the Fluffy Tail quest.